Okay, so after hearing the whole listen and believe lie that feminists have foisted upon society, get repeated for the 50 millionth time, I'd say it's time I chime in on this one now. So, so I'll start off by pointing out we live in a society with a rule of law. We live in a society where people have the right to a fair trial by jury before we convict them and ultimately punish them for a crime. The idea is we don't want to punish innocent people for crimes they did not commit. This is part of a just society. I want you to bear this in mind through the video. So, with that, when we simply believe the accuser as soon as the accusation is thrown out, we automatically take the fair out of it, right? Because we're just starting off tipping the scales in favor of the accuser before we've actually examined the claims, heard from the accused, and actually looked at any of the evidence. So there you have it on that. Now, the feminist will tell you that it's a very rare thing that a woman would ever falsely accuse a man of rape. In fact, it's almost non-existent, in their eyes. And if they do cite a number, it's usually the percentage of false accusers that actually get convicted, by the same system of a fair trial that we would give a rapist, the same system that they want to take away from somebody who was accused, namely a man who was accused of rape. You know what else has a low percentage of conviction or a low conviction rate? Rape. So, by that logic, then, feminists, if they were logically consistent, which they're not, would have to concede, well, only a small percentage of men that got accused of rape actually rape. And there's a big gap in between those two percentages. But instead of conceding the point, being honest and saying, hey, guys, you know what, you're right. You guys do have a point there. They will go on to cite that low percentage of rape convictions as a dire need for us to listen and believe. But, they certainly won't extend that same courtesy to somebody who's saying, well, hey, look, this person's a liar. This woman's falsely accusing me of rape. And that's because they're not interested in the truth. They're not interested in an objective look at the fact. Their sole interest is upping the rape convictions. This is about them weaponizing our legal system against men, is what it boils down to. And if we would ever take that listen and believe nonsense and put it into law, obviously the percentage of rape convictions would go up and the number of rape convictions would go up. And of course, feminists would cite that as evidence that we need more feminism to stop rape, when really all they did was just lower the standards of evidence needed to get the numbers inflated. And it's not too far-fetched to say that if this was applied to our legal system, the number of fraudulent rape cases would go up. I mean, think about it. A woman who might have been thinking about falsely accusing their employer of raping her just to get back at them, decided against it because, well, she'd actually have to provide some proof or some evidence, something like that. Now, it is going to be believed just simply by throwing out the accusation. And then it's on everyone else to prove her wrong. You see how that encourages more false accusations of that crime, simply by just believing the accuser no matter how ridiculous their story is. And then when you show these feminists real false accusation cases and ask them what feminists plan to do about it, you usually get the same empty, canned line of, well, feminism opposes false rape accusations because they discredit real rape victims. But yet they're strangely silent when it comes to people like Mattress Girl. In fact, the only thing I heard from feminists on that incident was, well, we need to listen and believe. After somebody caught blatantly lying about being raped. Oh, and then goes and makes a porno where she reenacts it. Call me old-fashioned, but I just don't think you can rape the willing. Or like after the Duke Lacrosse hoax, when one feminist, and her name slips my mind, said something along the lines of, well, men can learn something when they're falsely accused of rape. Well, yeah, I agree. Don't listen and believe. Bring witnesses. Keep a video camera on you at all times and keep it recording. Don't go into a room with somebody, namely a woman, by yourself. Gee, feminist, and you wonder why men don't want to date you. Was it the paint thinner y'all huffed, or was it the pink hair dye that damaged your brain so much?
For those on the fence about this issue who haven't really decided either which way yet, got a question, guys. Do you really want to risk going to jail for a crime you didn't commit, namely rape? Because you get convicted of rape, that ruins your life. Ladies, I'll ask you, do you really want to increase the odds that your sons, fathers, husbands, cousins, boyfriends, uncles, so on, so forth, go to jail over a crime they didn't commit? Well, I think I'm going to wrap this up with a bit of advice on how to prevent yourself from becoming a victim of rape, or at least reduce the odds thereof, and what to do in the case that you are raped in order to increase the odds of getting a conviction. So on rape prevention, and by the way, this isn't just for rape prevention, this will help protect you against most crimes. Lock your doors at night. Don't walk down dark alleys drunk. Don't put yourself into a situation where you increase the odds of you being raped. Consider carrying something for personal protection. Now, bear in mind to follow all state, local, and federal laws. Be aware of your surroundings. Just basic, good old-fashioned common sense. In the event you are raped, the very first thing you should do is go to the hospital, inform the staff you are raped, let them do all the necessary tests, collect all the necessary evidence, so it's more than just your word now. You have evidence. And immediately report this to the police. Do not take a shower first. Go directly to the hospital. Do not sit on this, because the longer you sit on this, the more evidence degrades, and the more evidence cannot be collected. And that's all I have on this one for now. So y'all take it easy.